all, this is going to be a quick one. Hey all, this is a quick one. It's going to be focused on foot and ankle health. You're going to need your WundaCore, your mat, and a wall to work against. So let's lay down on our back facing the wall. And you're going to get yourself close enough so that you can be in about a tabletop position. So you want your knees and feet 4 inches apart parallel, and you want to have your feet flat on the wall. I'm going to scooch in a little bit so that my knees and my thigh bones are sinking deeply into my pelvis, and then go ahead and lay all the way down. Make sure your feet and knees are aligned, big toe, second toe, and we're actually going to pick up the balls of our feet, so just our heels are anchored, and then set them back down. Creasing at the ankle and set them back down. So keep doing that, and you can pick up the pace once you understand the mobility or the action. And this is a mobility drill focused on ankle function. Might start to build a little heat in the front side of your shins, that's fine. As you increase mobility through this drill, it will create less heat. If you want to continue with this mobility drill but look for a little core connection while you're at it, you can take your WundaCore behind the base of your skull so that you're holding an abdominal curl. Just a few more like this. If you have your head in your hands or with your WundaCore under the base of your head, then you can make sure that you are keeping length on your front body and no tension in the front side of your neck. All right, keep working, but we're going to swivel the lower leg and the upper inner thigh just a little bit. So now my toes are tipped outbound and I'm a little bit of an external rotation, and I'm still just tapping. There should be a lot of heat building up on the front side of your shins, and maybe increased mobility, like by how far you can move the balls of feet. Allow your head to hang down into that WundaCore, maybe come up a little higher in your abdominal curl. I know these are spicy, these drills are torture for me too. All right, quick pause. We're gonna shift into internal and then we'll change it up again. Here we go, keep working. You'll notice how different areas of your shins and abdominals are activating as well as we rotate internal to external. Here we go for 5. Keeping your tailbone anchored to the mat for 3. For 2, and pause. Bring it back into a 4 inches apart parallel situation. We're going to take the WundaCore around the ball of your right foot in your right hand. And what we're going to do is flex and extend through the front side of the ankle. I'm giving myself a lot of feedback via the ankle joint and using the WundaCore to help plug the thigh bone deep into the pelvis. I have my head up, but that can always be down. You can lay flat on your back and focus on that ankle mobility and use the WundaCore to really drag the ball of the foot towards you. Hold with the toes drawn towards you. And now we are going to allow the pelvis to tip back. So it's like we are allowing the navel to drop down, and then we're going to come back to neutral, but the foot doesn't change. Drop down, melting the low back into the mat, and then come back to neutral. So what we're doing is opening up the hips and the pelvis and the low back while we are opening up the ankle and the foot. Here we go for 4. Really reach.
Are we dropping toward the wall?
We're dropping away from the wall, so the navel is dropping down. And then we come back to level. Navel is dropping down like the 12 o'clock if your belly button is 12. And then we rock back to neutral. Last 2. And bring it back to neutral. Pause. We are going to remove the WundaCore, place it back between your inner thighs now. Both feet are flat against the wall. And now we're going to go into foot rolls, picking the heels up and imprinting the heels down. So earlier to start the workout, we were doing balls of feet lifting. Now we're doing heels lifting. And maybe come all the way up onto your tippy toes. When we're on our back, it gives us some options for increased mobility. on the front side of the ankle. So we're not trying to stand on our tippy toes because we're not upright. We're on our back today. So we're lifting, opening ankles and strongly imprinting heels down. Try to find more articulation or rolling down under your feet and then peeling, rolling up. The WundaCore between the inner thighs is helping to keep us organized, reaching and lifting. Exhale as we lower down. Last 3. This is going to be 2. Last one, hold with the toes barely touching the wall. There should be some shake there, like we are almost leaving the wall with the top of our toes. 5, 4, 3, 2, and allow both heels to roll all the way back down. All right, we are going to take the WundaCore around the ball of your left foot. Right leg stays on the wall. And we're going to go through the extension and the flexion of the front side of your left ankle. So you want to keep the leg as long as you can. And now we are yawning open the ankle and deeply creasing it using the resistance of your WundaCore, of your resistance ring, to allow that deep crease at the front side of your ankle as the heel reaches away from your hip. Lengthen and open, and exhale and crease. Really try to keep the leg right on top of where your thigh bone drops into the pelvis. Last one, we're going to hold with that flexion. Hold and breathe. 5, 4, 3, 2, and bring it all the way down. Last thing we're going to do to help open up those feet is go into a bridge with the WundaCore underneath your arches. So again, today we're not using gravity. We are using the intention through the arches and through the mobility of our ankles to find function through our bodies. So we're going to keep our arches over the WundaCore, feet are flat and parallel, and then we're going to round through the spine to lower and to raise. So really think about that lengthening and that reaching. And exhale as you bring it down. I'm thinking about my feet almost like they are like bird feet, kind of perching over a wire or over a branch. So I'm intentionally reaching the toes and the balls of the feet into the ground, and I'm intentionally imprinting the heels down. Inhale to reach, stretch the knees away from the hips. Exhale as we lower down. Last 2. Last one, we're gonna hold it up. Really think about those bird feet over that line, lengthening and reaching knees and opening the front side of the hips for 5, 4, 3, 2, and exhale. Bring the ribs down, bring the low back down, bring the pelvis down, and unwind. Last thing we're going to do here is take a figure 4 stretch just to continue the connection between our hips and our feet. So we're going to stay down on the ground, taking the left ankle across the right thigh, and just breathe. We're going to flex and hold the left foot. So you're going to bring your toes up to the sky, reach the left heel away from the left knee. Hold and breathe for 3. Really try to drag those toes back, creasing deeply at the ankle for 2. Staying here, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to open the front side of the left ankle, reaching the toes away from the knee, lengthening and opening that joint for 3, for 2, and bring that foot back to neutral. We're going to switch sides. So we're going to have the right ankle crossing the left thigh. Adjust as needed. We want to make sure we're not just kind of loading into the shoulders or the hands behind us. Flex the right ankle a lot. Should feel significant stretch through that right hip, the outer hip, through the glutes. Crease at the front side of that ankle. Now yawn and open the front side of that ankle for 4, 3, 2, and bring the foot back to neutral. And that's going to be our quick set of opening up our feet and our ankles. You can try any of those drills any day to add into mobility and functionality of your feet and ankles.